Well, good morning, all. We're up in the beautiful Sierras, around 4,000 foot level. Last time I was here, it was so cold I couldn't breathe. Well, I'm back to do a little detecting on this road, but I thought while I'm here, I'm going to do a short video on how I adjust and operate my TDI. I've had quite a few my subscribers ask me questions on operating this thing, so I thought, well, I'll give a quick tutorial on how to run it. So let's jump right into it. The TDI is a pretty simple machine to run, really. You have two switches down here. This is your on and off. This is your GB on and off. You just leave that on. I don't think I've ever turned that off. And then you have your ground balance, your pulse delay, your gain, your threshold, your metal, I don't know what you call it, your small and large targets. I leave this in all. I never do mess with that one. And your frequency. Okay, now as far as adjustments, the only ones I mess with is the on and off, your ground balance. If you have to, your pulse delay, I always leave that off or all the way down. Your gain, you'll adjust quite a bit. Your threshold, you adjust that each time, just, hopefully once. The target continuity, that one I just leave in all. Frequency, I normally leave that one alone. I leave it all the way down or off. Now, if you have two machines running side by side, one of you are going to have to adjust this so they don't talk to each other. Okay, now really with this machine, the only thing you're really going to mess with is your ground balance. When you get to a site, setting the ground balance, your threshold. As soon as you get to the site, you'll adjust your threshold. And then you might mess with the gain a little bit. But other than that, there's very little adjustment on this machine. It's really forgiving. The pulse machine is really forgiving for operation unless you're in extreme conditions. Now here in Northern California, we really don't have anything. I've never come across something that's so extreme that this machine can't handle it. Most of the places I go, if I get it close, it runs pretty good. But you always want to strive for getting it right on the money, because that will increase your depth of detection, but more importantly, you want it right on the money so it'll pick up the tiny targets. If you got it close, it'll run great, but you'll miss those little tiny pieces, and there's a lot more tiny pieces than there are large pieces. So you might as well pick up the tiny ones while you're looking for the large ones. Okay, let's get into the ground balance procedure. When I'm doing this, I'm going to have the headphones on and I'm going to have the speaker. I'm going to go ahead and put the speaker in the headphones, so my sound may be a little muffled. But I'm going to do it with the headphones on because I believe that when you're metal detecting, headphones are an absolute must. Especially when you're down around the river where the background noise, if you don't have headphones on, you're going to miss targets. But the headphones also allow you to turn everything down on the machine. It will almost double your battery life because you're not running this great big speaker in here. You're running these little tiny drivers. So it takes a lot less power to operate it. And it allows you to hear those very small targets a lot easier. And, your little nuggets are going to be the small targets. Like I say, there's a lot more little ones than there are big ones, and no sense walking by and leaving them lay there. Okay, what do you say we turn her on and get the ground balance? Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our threshold down till we can just barely hear it. Okay, right there. Every now and then you can hear it. Okay, now we're going to have our gain set about 3/4 the way up. Our pulse delay is all the way off. Our frequency is all the way off. Now I'm going to start by turning my ground balance all the way down so you can see the difference. Now, as you lower the loop to the ground, being we're in mineralized country, the sound should increase. Okay, so what you do is you need more ground balance. So you turn the ground balance up as you're going up and down until the sound quits changing. I'm about halfway up now. Okay, I'm 3/4 away and you see it's now changing. Still, I need a little more. Okay, now I'm going to go past to show you what happens when you go past. See, the sound changes. You get that low frequency. Means you're too far, so we got to back her up. Okay, right there, I got no difference. Our ground balance is set. Okay, now that the ground balance is set, we're pretty much ready to run the machine. Now, if you want, and you're not too mineralized, now if you look at the controls here, I am quite a ways up on the ground balance. So I'm going to leave my gain at 3/4 because if I go much more, my machine's going to be unstable. Now, if my ground balance wasn't adjusted so high, if I was back at, half or 5/8, somewhere in that way, between the 5 and the 7, I would go ahead and turn my gain all the way up. But being I'm up at 8.5, that's pretty mineralized ground, so I don't want my machine to be unstable because I don't want to dig targets that aren't there. So I'm going to get plenty of depth with my ground balance set at 3/4. And other than that, that's pretty much it. Now you have the target continuity, the high and the low. I leave that on all because I don't care if it's a big iron target or a small gold target. I dig all the targets. When you're looking for gold, you're digging all the targets because the gold and the iron travel together. Even here where I'm going to be detecting this old road here, even here I'm going to get them all because if it's not a piece of gold, if it's a big iron target, it might be a really cool old artifact. So I'm up here to detect. Why would you go off and not dig targets that you know exist? Now, if you're down in a ballpark or something like that, yeah, you don't want to dig pull tabs, but then you wouldn't be using this machine. You're up in the mountains, dig them all. You're going to find some cool stuff if you do. Okay, as far as running the detector. Now, I've explained this on my other videos, but the loop, you basically have an inverted cone. As you get further from the loop, your area detection gets smaller. So if you're detecting bedrock and there's a crevice that's going on an angle, you want to make sure that you turn your loop so it matches that angle. So you're detecting with the majority of your loop in the deepest point. And The sweep speed with this machine is just a pretty comfortable sweep speed. You want to make sure that your loop is always parallel with the ground. And if you got a loop cover on, go ahead and drag it. You can see by this loop cover I got taped on that I've beat this loop cover to death. I'm ready for a new one because I drag it right on the ground. If you don't have a loop cover, you're going to ruin your loop. So the 10 bucks it costs for a loop cover is way cheaper than 250 for a new loop. Okay, well, I am going to switch over, get my gear, start detecting this road. So at this point, I'm cutting this video short. So if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that notification bell. That way when I put a video up, you'll get notified on it. And hopefully, we try to get a video out every 2 weeks. I try to do it once a week, but that's pretty hard because I still work for a living. All right, well, I'm going to say you guys have a wonderful day, and I'm going to go find something on this road, and if you want to see that, you're going to have to watch the next video.